Hi, I'm Andrew Clark, Athletic Director at Sam School High School. This video is for those of you that are new to our athletic program, whether you're an incoming freshman or a new student at Sam School, to kind of acquaint you with our athletic clearance process. On the school website and in hard copy at the school, we offer our student athletic handbook. The athletic handbook lays out the basic operating procedures for our athletic department and also has all the clearance papers, work you'll need to sign and turn into our cashier in order to be cleared to try out. All this paperwork has to be turned into the cashier prior to attempting to try out for any of our teams. A question we deal with a lot is athletic eligibility. In terms of a student's athletic eligibility, there are two things you have to be concerned with. First, a student has to be passing 4 classes at all times. We're on a traditional semester system, so we have 6 classes in our school day. At each official grading period, a student must be passing at least 4 of those classes with D's or better to maintain their CIF eligibility. If a student does not maintain a passing level at 4 of those classes, they're ineligible at that grading period. A second thing we look at is a student's GPA. When we're talking about grade point average, we always use unweighted grades in terms of athletic eligibility. That being said, a student must maintain a 2.0 unweighted GPA to have full eligibility. If at an official grading period, so every 6 weeks in our calendar, a student dips below a 2.0, they may go on academic probation. If a student is on academic probation, that means this is a non-consecutive grading period below a 2.0, and they're still passing 4 classes. At the end of that 6-week grading period, the student must maintain a 2.0 or better to be fully eligible and continue to participate. A student on athletic probation may continue to participate. However, a conversation needs to be had with the coaches and parents to determine whether or not participating in the sport is what's best for the student's academic progress. The last thing we're going to talk about today is transfer eligibility. If a student enters Sam Pasquale after the first day of their freshman year, there are generally 2 ways in which their eligibility is determined. First, is it a residential move? Did the entire family unit in which the student was living prior to moving to Sam Pasquale make a move into a new school boundary? If they did, then the student will most likely have full eligibility to play any sport they wish to participate in at Sam Pasquale. The second is when a student makes a transfer from school to school, but the family does not make a residential move. When this happens, there are basically 2 things that can apply to the student's eligibility at Sam Pasquale High School. If the student played the sport at their prior school and wishes to play at the varsity level, then they will most likely have to take what CIF terms the sit-out period. The sit-out period is 50% of the days in the regular season, from the start date to the end of the regular season. And the student would not be allowed to participate in a game or any kind of contest against another school, scrimmages included, prior to the end of that sit-out period. If the student is not a varsity athlete and they played the sport at their prior school, then the determination can be made to give them limited eligibility, meaning they can play at the JV or novice level for the entire season without any kind of sit-out, but they are not allowed to play in a varsity contest for that season that year. These rules do apply to each sport that a student played at their prior school. So if a student was a tri-sport athlete, the sit-out period or limited eligibility would apply in each of the 3 sports, not just once. Again, if an entire family makes a residential move, this is a different scenario, and in those cases, for the most part, students have full athletic eligibility upon enrolling at Sam Pasquale High School. There are some other outliers that can be taken into account in CIF's eyes. However, those 2 are generally the main instances in which transfer eligibility applies.